They are discussing policy modifications, and we were actually discussing earlier on the news at 6 that they are looking to protect children in foster care systems and those that are unhoused as they look towards the future. They have a couple of different issues that they are going to be talking about, including that. So we'll go to this as it is in session right now. They're actually speaking about compensation schedules, so we'll go to it in live.
No, thank you.
Is there any other discussion? There being none, for those present by show of hands in favor of classified compensation schedules, Phase 2, implementation of compensation studies, for those virtual by voice.
Yes.
Yes.
Madam Clerk, that is unanimous. Fourth. For the fifth vote this evening, fifth action item is the new elementary school on Old Park Road site redistricting project. Before the board acts, I turn to Superintendent Dr. Hill to introduce this item and make a recommendation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This information has been provided with multiple opportunities for engagement, including a public hearing. We've not received any additional questions, so at this time request that you would approve it as presented.
I turn to Board Member Klein to make this motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve boundary option 1 for the new elementary school on the Old Park Road site redistricting project as recommended by the superintendent.
Second.
It's been seconded by Dr. Witherspoon. The motion before us is the new elementary school on Old Park Road site redistricting project by show of hands, by voice for those who are virtual that are in favor.
I need to speak to it.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Yes.
Right, hold, 1 second. Board Member Klein would like to speak to her motion. I jumped ahead.
I wanted to thank Dr. Hill and Dr. Balknight, who looked at asking for a delay back when we were looking at boundaries. I want to thank Ms. Serbeck, Ms. Braswell, and Matt Cropper, the Cropper Group, who met with numerous family groups to receive input that was very valuable, and the community felt very much valued by hearing their concerns and listening to them. So thank you very much.
Is there any other comments? There being none, the motion before us is approval for the new elementary school on Old Park Road site redistricting project. Those in favor by show of hands and voice for virtual.
Yes.
All right, the motion carries. It's unanimous, Madam Clerk. Losing count. The sixth action item before us this evening is for the CMS academically and intellectually gifted 3-year district plan. I turn to Board Member Byers-Bailey to make this motion.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools 2025-2028 academically or intellectually gifted AIG 3-year plan as presented. This plan has been developed in accordance with the requirements of Article 9B of the North Carolina General Statutes, which mandates that each local education agency establish a comprehensive AIG plan addressing the specific components outlined by the state.
Motion has been properly made by Byers-Bailey. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Klein. Board Member Byers-Bailey, would you like to speak to your motion?
No, thank you.
Are there any other comments? There being none, the motion before us is the 25-28 CMS academically and intellectually gifted 3-year district plan. All those in favor by show of hands, voice, virtual.
Yes.
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 Madam Clerk, is unanimous. Motion carries. The seventh action item before us this evening is the 25-26 Career and Technical Education CTE application for state federal funds. I turn to Board Member Monterey Duval to make this motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve the 25-26 CTE application for state and federal funding as presented.
Second. Board Member Monterey Duval, would you like to speak to your motion?
No, ma'am.
Or is there any other comments? Being none, so all those in favor of the 25-26 Career and Technical Education CT application for state federal funds. By show of hands, voice, virtual, in favor.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous. The last action item for this evening, I believe the last one, yes, is instructional specialist salary schedules. Before the board acts, I turn to Dr. Hill to introduce this item and make a recommendation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am asking our Associate Superintendent, Angie Wood, to come up, please, and Kelly Klutz, Chief Financial Officer, to give a briefing on this topic.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Sneed, Vice Chair Rankin, and esteemed board members. We bring to you tonight the superintendent's recommendation for the instructional specialist compensation schedule. When named interim superintendent in January of 2023, Dr. Hill received multiple requests from a wide variety of stakeholders to review employee compensation. When named superintendent in May of 2023, Dr. Hill continued to hear these concerns throughout numerous stakeholder engagements. There was a clear call for transparent and competitive compensation to recruit and retain employees. Over the last 2 years, compensation has been reviewed and great strides have been made. Tonight's recommendation is an example of this work related to instructional specialists. Additionally, and as a reminder, instructional specialists are critical to our district-wide theory of change. In fact, specialists are the first brick in the theory of change. School-based master teachers must be, they deserve to be, supported, trained, and developed in their roles. When we fund district specialist positions, we are funding the training and development of our master teachers and subsequently our classroom teachers. A couple of areas that emerged in our review of compensation. Instructional specialists have not been on a teacher contract, which is inconsistent with their role. The superintendent plans to address this item operationally. Instructional specialists have been paid on a classified pay schedule. The superintendent is addressing this through a recommendation to the Board of Education. So tonight, the superintendent's recommendation for the instructional specialist compensation schedule is the CMS certified teacher salary plus a 5% supplement. To break this down further, this is the North Carolina salary schedule plus our annual local supplement plus an additional 5% to equal the total salary. I will now turn it over to Chief Klutz.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. You may be asking yourself what that looks like. This is a screenshot of the 24-25 Certified Bachelor A schedule. All of the schedules are available on our district website. So to calculate a compensation package for an instructional specialist, you would go to the total annual 12-month column and take that salary and multiply that by 5%. And add that to the total proposed salary. For example, an A10, the total amount of the 12-month column has a salary of $68,103. You'll multiply that by 5% and get $3,405.15. Adding those together, you have a total compensation of $71,508.15. And so that's how an instructional specialist is placed on the schedule before you. Okay. The recommended salary schedule reflects the recommendation from HIL Consultants. They're the experts that the district hired to conduct the classified compensation study, who recommended the instructional specialist aligned to the North Carolina teacher salary schedule based on their licensure. It positively impacts compensation for the overwhelming majority of instructional specialists. It significantly increases the ability for the future earnings potential of our instructional specialist, and it provides a transparent pay structure. The superintendent's recommendation tonight for the instructional specialist compensation schedule is CMS certified teacher salary plus a 5% supplement. Tonight, we ask the board to approve the recommended instructional specialist salary schedule to be effective on July 1st, 2025. If approved by the board, the instructional specialist will receive a communication from the compensation team detailing their specific compensation in detail. Chair Sneed, this completes our presentation.
Thank you. I turn to board members I'm sorry. Turn to Dr. Hill.
Do you have anything else?
Okay. I turn to board members Byers-Bailey to make this motion.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the superintendent's recommended instructional specialist salary schedule as presented, effective July 1, 2025.
The motion's been made by Byers-Bailey. Is there a second?
Are we not allowed to ask questions? Or does that happen after them?
Not until,
I second.
Okay, thank you.
Until the motion.
Okay.
Vice Chair Rankin has said now. Board members Byers-Bailey, would you like to speak to your motion?
No, thank you.
Board members.
Yes.
Board member Easley.
So I have some questions. Our instructional specialists, they are instructional leaders, they support teachers, they work year-round, onto a teacher salary designed for 10 months in classroom roles. This shift begins to ignore the extent, responsibilities, and leadership, the nature of these positions, raising serious questions about fairness and professional respect. How are we justifying reclassifying these specialists when they do all of this stuff?
It is the recommendation of the experts who do this work statewide, and it aligns with their job description and classification of employment.
Okay.
Did you have,
Yeah, I have more.
okay.
You've stated that no current employees will see a pay cut, but what happens after July of 25 when their contract is up and it's a new contract? Will they then be moved to the same teacher salary where they would move or not move based on their years of experience?
The Board of Education nor the superintendent has the authority to commit future boards or future budgets, so I can't speak to that indefinite guarantee.
And I just want to add a little bit more clarification around that. If you'll notice, anytime you're approving any type of compensation, as whoever read the last motion, the last sentence is always "as budget allows." Like legally, I don't want to speak legally. That's a thing. All of our employment is contingent upon future budgets.
Okay. May I keep going? Why has CMS chosen not to do a grandfathered option that currently protects our curriculum specialists from being downgraded to a teacher pay? And then these veterans teachers, many with advanced degrees, who have stepped up into leadership roles, shouldn't we be doing more to retain them? I mean, I don't care who answers
I
that.
have a completely different view. It is certainly, in my opinion, not a downgrade, but actually the opposite, in that we are reflecting their certified salary that they went to school for and they spent experience doing, and now we're going to reward them on the teacher schedule, and we're also going to reward them with the potential of having increased earnings over their career. So if you look at the trend of increases over the last 20 years or 25 years from 2001, you will see that on a certified schedule, the trend is a 95% increase since 2001 for a certified employee. However, employees on a classified schedule only received a 52% increase. So in the certified schedule, these individuals will have the potential of earning nearly double the annual pay increase based on historical trends since 2021.
So I just want to follow up on that. So thank you for that very detailed response. Based on this plan, two-thirds of our employees will receive an increase. They will be making more money after this is approved than they currently are. 1/3 of our employees will not receive a decrease, but will continue to receive a differential. Because we have said from the very beginning in report after report after report, standing from this dais, documented in your board docs from January 14th, that we set out on this journey would never, ever intend to take pay away from our employees, to decrease their pay. So there's just not clarity around what you're specifically.
Well, usually teachers have a one-year contract. After the one-year contract, they sign a new contract, but that's a new thing. With the new schedule, I understand that you're not losing pay, but as a new teacher contract, would that adjust their pay going forward after 2025?
So the contract is something that's completely different than what their salary is. So currently, our instructional specialists are classified employees, and they're classified as at will. And so if you take a look at Board Policy P-EMPW, it outlines exactly what an at-will employee is. So an at-will employee is an employee of the Board of Education that can be terminated at will. They can be terminated any time, or they may voluntarily resign their positions. So in other words, there is not a contract, a piece of paper that is an agreement between the school district and that employee for employment for a term that's outlined in the contract. Instructional specialists are performing instructional duties, and as such, they should be aligned with the North Carolina teaching salary schedule and earning credit on their license and earning pay based on their years of experience. The only way that you can earn years of experience is if you're paid on the schedule. And if you're performing these duties, these are teachers that deserve a contract. So I think the two have been, and quite naturally so, confused, which is why we provided information to our specialist and as well to the board to kind of clear some of that up. But just to be clear, these folks are not going to lose pay. We've cut over $1 million out of our central office budget to pay for it. So that is to go towards the 2/3 of our instructional specialists to bring them up in pay, and then 1/3 their pay is going to be maintained with a differential because they're already above what the recommendation is.
Thank you. Finished. Okay. Any other questions? All right, we have a motion before us is to approve the instructional specialist salary schedules. All those.
Madam Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand, Vice Chair Rankin. Go ahead.
No, I just want to take the time to say to instructional specialists that reached out, we heard your questions, and I want to say to district staff, thanks for taking the time to answer many of our questions, because there were questions from not only from specialists but also from some board members. I want to thank you for taking the time out to really give us a better understanding of why the change is being done and the overall reason behind it. And I think, for the most part, in the long run, this is something that was a recommendation that was made. Possibly that could be better for the district as a whole. So thank you, staff, for answering our questions, and specialists, thank you for your questions, because those questions kind of sparked some thought process for all of us on the board. So just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo Vice Chair Rankin's sentiment. When it comes to these issues around compensation, they're never an easy vote. And I just want to reassure all of those that reached out that I didn't take any of your concerns lightly, and I spent many hours speaking to staff and even constituents on this matter. But I also want to recognize that without board action tonight, instructional specialists would remain at will, and that could lead to even more uncertainty around their roles and compensation. While this recommendation may not be perfect for everyone, I think it provides structure, protection, and ultimately a path forward. And that is why I'm going to support it, but I just want you to know it wasn't an easy decision, and we spent a lot of time deliberating the pros and cons.
Board Member Klein.
I'm going to thank Dr. Hill, and Ms. Klutz, Dr. Cohn. I'm sorry that she's not here due to a family emergency, and we're thinking of her, for listening to our concerns. We put y'all through the ringer because we had lots of questions. And I want to thank all the people who reached out to us, because this is tough. Some of us on the board have been specialists and understand at will is not necessarily the best feeling. And this is a protection for your position. And that's really something that I find very important for everyone, because the summer times when the specialists are really busy. They're the ones doing the workshops, they're doing the planning, and so we can't do without them. So thank you for listening to our concerns, and we did hear you.
Was there, board membership.
Yes, I also wanted to say thank you for so many questions being asked, and I want to thank you for the depth of the responses to these questions and continuing to answer them for clarity and understanding. And so I want to thank Dr. Hill and her staff, Dr. Khan, unfortunately she's not here tonight, and also who actually gave us some more questions and answers even tonight. So thank you. And also Ms. Klutz and everybody who's been involved in this, because this was a tough one. And I have been an instructional specialist, like I think Board Member Klein was alluding to. And so I really understand this. And it was a difficult one because there were so many pieces. But I really appreciate the time and the work to help us get to this point where we clearly understand. And teacher contract is important, and for them to understand the teacher contract versus being an at-will employee and what that really means. So thank you for all of this and bringing this to us this way. Thank you.
All right, I think that we are ready for the question. And yes, thank you to staff for entertaining our many questions even late in this process. As board members, we have an obligation to respond to the public respectfully. We have an obligation to respond to you all respectfully. We have an obligation to interact and respond to each other respectfully, no matter the difficulty of the decision. That is the standard that we have. That's the standard we should have, and it should be a standard of excellence. With that being said, I think we're ready for the question. The instructional specialist salary schedules is before us to approve. All those in favor by show of hands, and those on the virtual. So that is 6. All those opposed? No, sorry, it's 7. 1 opposed. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.